What's up, everybody? This is The Slate. This is Friday, and there's a whole lot going on in the sports world. Adam Kaufman, Jeff Ulrich, Matt LaMarca. We got Eamon and Andrew here with us, and hopefully just a few of you out there as well. Thanks for being with us. We're going to hit on, we'll do some NBA, we'll do some NHL, mix in some college hoops, obviously, as we are working our way toward the Elite Eight. That's always exciting. But why not, guys, begin with a little bit of football? Because here, as we approach the end of March, just more and more huge signings by the day. DJ Chark, of Madden Sim fame for anyone that was around with us for that. Heading off to Carolina. Nelson Aguilar, he's a Baltimore Raven now. Guys, I mean, people are just finding homes like you read about.
Yeah, you were waiting for an elite talent like Aguilar to find a home. It's amazing he was out there for that long. Nelson Aguilar's greatest claim to fame will be when that Eagles guy roasted him in that news segment that one time.
I don't know. I think
But
his claim to fame might be the contract he got from the Patriots, considering he just got like 3 million from the Ravens.
fair point. DJ Chark is interesting. I'll let Jeff talk about him a little bit too, because I know he's a DJ Chark guy, but I thought he was one of the more interesting free agent targets at a weak wide receiver position this offseason. Big size, size speed type of guy who can play on the outside. Was productive last year in Detroit for a really good Lions passing attack. Has had plenty of success in the past with Jacksonville too. So it obviously depends what kind of production they're going to get out of the quarterback spot in Carolina. But I think DJ Chark is somebody who could be a little bit undervalued for, fantasy drafts and stuff like that, at least if you're looking at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. Productive-ish. He went 500 plus yards. Granted, he only played a little
Yeah,
more.
he missed some time though.
No, he did. He played 11 games. Touchdowns were I was going to say way down, but really they're pretty consistent with his career. It's the 8 touchdowns he had that one year for Jacksonville a few years ago that were the outlier. Generally speaking, it's a low touchdown total. He had just the 3, but I guess sure he would have been pacing for 5 or 6 had he played a full year if you wanted to project that out. But I guess more interesting, Jeff, is he a threat? Like, to actually have a good season, to be productive in Carolina? We don't know exactly who's going to be throwing him the ball yet, as Lamarca alluded to. But playing aside Adam Thielen and sort of a passing attack that is fairly pedestrian, some names that have put up big numbers in the past. How does this look in 2023?
So DJ Chark, in case you're not familiar with him, I mean, when he came out of college, you compare his metrics to Julio Jones, they're pretty much the same person. Sub 4.4 guy, 6'4", big, massive vertical. He is an absolute specimen. There's no question. He's had trouble staying on the field. He's maybe not what you'd call like an elite route runner, but he can get separation, and he did it at certain times when he was healthy with the Lions. I don't know if he's necessarily ever going to develop into like a true wide receiver one, though. And again, I'm not saying he's Julio Jones or he's just like he needs a chance or something. Oh, there's a lot of athletic wide receivers out there. Chark hasn't really stayed on the field enough to really, to me, know that it's whether he's going to do it or not. He's 26 now. He's still basically in the prime. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of tread on the tires. Like you pair him with a CJ Stroud, you get a full season out of him. There is a lot of potential here in my mind. So I really like the signing. I'm also surprised that he only signed for a year. I mean, it's a really weak wide receiver core, man.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get a bigger offer from somebody.
Yeah, like this is not what I was expecting for DJ Chark. I mean, you got Juju Smith-Schuster, you got Jacoby Myers, who I guess like more reliable names, but man, like neither of those guys are true wide receiver ones. Some like I don't even know if Juju. Well, I mean, I'm probably underselling him, but the point is like Chark is to me like the more athletic upside potential of that group. So good signing by the Panthers. I think it's a great signing. You've got Thielen. Thielen isn't going to carry the load by himself anymore, but Thielen worked well alongside another athletic guy in Justin Jefferson. So this is what you call like the no-name brand way of filling out a wide receiver core, and very effectively, in my opinion. So good signing by the Panthers, player I really like. There's still potential. It could go either way for DJ Chark, man. Week 2, he would be done for the year. Or he could, if he stays on the field for the whole year, though, man, like I think there's a really good production still to be had with this player. So
I just like
as
real
usual,
life
the Jets are the big losers here, paying Alan Lazard 4 years at $11 million per as part of the Aaron Rodgers Ponzi scheme.
The Jets wide receiver, Aaron Rodgers aside, like that, just your opinion on Aaron Rodgers aside, what the Jets are doing wide receiver this offseason is mind-boggling, to be honest. I don't get it.
I just like when like reality, real life imitates video games or whatever. I'm looking at the Panthers depth chart, and this looks like if you just decide to start a Madden franchise and you're going through and doing the full league draft, and you whoever your team is, but like Carolina, you wind up playing Carolina in week 3, and the quarterback is Andy Dalton, and they have Miles Sanders and Adam Thielen and DJ Chark. Hayden Hurst is the tight end. Like, it's just a total mishmash of offseason additions. And I know Dalton doesn't project to be the QB, obviously, but you know who DJ Chark is, guys? DJ Chark is going to be the guy that once the NFL season rolls around, every single Friday we're talking about as a value play for your DFS lineups. That is who DJ Chark is going to be this season.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I think that, like I said, when we get to the off season, like the real NFL fantasy draft season of August, like there's going to be a lot of like, you know who the cheapest wide receiver 1 is right now?
Yeah.
It's DJ Chark. You can get him at wide receiver 45 in your fantasy drafts. And, and I'm going to be sucked in at that price tag. So, again, a lot depends on what kind of production they get out of the quarterback position.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a good receiver season with bad quarterback play. Just ask DJ Moore, who is undoubtedly a top 15-ish receiver talent who couldn't do a thing last year in Carolina. But yeah, I mean, the CJ Stroud thing, if that is who they go with, and I think me and Jeff are both pretty locked in on the fact that he's going to be the pick.
Yeah.
His passing numbers were phenomenal in college.
Yeah.
So there might be some upside with this Carolina offense, even though they are going to be a really run heavy team.
I think it's more of like potentially like a Joe Burrow first year situation for DJ Chark, rather than say like a Kenny Pickett situation, which is good. It's not necessarily going to translate to him having monster numbers, but you could definitely see some pretty solid production if he stays on the field, which he's had trouble doing. So
I know obviously not this move, or certainly not the Aguilar move for the Ravens, and even the Ravens are a little uncertain because while we may think that Lamar Jackson will be that team's quarterback, we do not know as of yet definitively. Has anything happened in, let's say, the last week, within free agency or any sort of movement that has impacted anything that you are betting on the DraftKings Sportsbook? Like, obviously not a whole lot of movement in futures odds or even who's going to win the conference or the division. But has there been anything, LaMarca, that has made you take notice of line movement?
Not really. I mean, a lot of the teams that I have interest in, like we have talked about a lot recently.
Yeah.
The Bears are up to 50-1. I think that number probably continues to rise. The Falcons are a team that, Jeff has kind of brought to my attention and I'm running with. I now have made bets on the Falcons to win the division. I think the Broncos are interesting at 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. I would love it if they held on to Jerry Jeudy, but we'll see if that happens. Like, I think at this point, like most of the moves that are going to have a real impact have been made. So, if you wanted me to single one move out, I would say Cleveland getting a legit number 2 receiver to pair with Amari Cooper. With Deshaun Watson at quarterback. Hopefully he improves after, what was a pretty pedestrian showing from him last year. Cleveland might have a bit more upside than their current odds implied. I mean, if you're looking at the DraftKings page right now, they have the same Super Bowl odds as the Packers. That seems pretty off to me. So yeah. Cleveland would probably be somebody that I would look at as a winner over the past week or so.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, really, Cleveland has one team to deal with too. I think there's a very good chance Lamar Jackson isn't a Ravens. So you're just talking about the Bengals, who Cleveland's actually played well. And, it's like one injury away from the Bengals. All of a sudden their season getting derailed. So that makes sense. The team for me would probably be the Lions. They went from plus 2,800 down to plus 2,500. Really, I mean, again, I think the Lions have had a great offseason so far. Cam Sutton. My God, who else did they sign?
They brought in a couple cornerbacks.
Yeah. Sutton was the one. I can't remember who the other one is. It's it's a name a note too. Geez, whatever. They've signed 2 cornerbacks, exactly what they needed to do. That defense got shredded last year. But Sutton is really versatile. Plays nickel, which is again like where they getting burned. They were getting burned by tight ends and running backs. That was a guy I thought they should have signed. They did. So I always like it when teams do that. I think the Lions have just, I think they have a path, and I think they know it. I think they're kind of a self-aware franchise. So interesting to see them drop down. Not surprised. I could even see the Lions getting a little more heat, depending on what they do in the draft too.
The Lions did just add Gardner Johnson from the Eagles.
That's what it was. Yes, Chauncey Gardner.
I didn't know if you were talking about Emmanuel Mosley. Well, no, it
was Gardner Johnson. That's who the other person was.
They added him from San Francisco too.
Yeah. No, they've been busy doing what they needed to do to improve their pass defense, which obviously was their biggest flaw last year. So if you project a little bit of growth, maybe from Aiden Hutchinson, and you get some better play in the secondary, Detroit is definitely live. They're the favorites right now to win that division, so they're obviously pretty live.
Yeah, like I just think the Lions are, again, like they know that they have a lane. Like Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back. They know how well they played last year. Their coach has got the room, the attention of the room. Like they remind me a lot of the Eagles at this point last season. Like on the verge. And what did the Eagles do? They went and added. They got AJ Brown. Kind of looks to me like what the Lions are doing this season.
I'll push back a little bit on that. I don't see Jared Goff making the same kind of leap that Jalen Hurts did.
No.
So,
you're talking about a guy who's already been to a Super Bowl. Come on.
Yeah, but he was being propped up by the Sean McVay offense.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, I thought was solid last year. He's a guy that, I think if you asked the Detroit front office at the beginning of last season if Jared Goff would be their starter heading into this season, they probably would have told you no. But I don't think he's a threat to make the Lions legitimate Super Bowl contenders. That's just me. They are an exciting, interesting team. I could see them winning that division, but to me, it's going to be hard for them to get past, a team like the 49ers or I like the Cowboys. I know that the Cowboys have been massive playoff disappointments, but you look at that defense, you take Ezekiel Elliott out of the offense, which is probably going to be addition by subtraction. I think the Cowboys could be really good again. I'm ready to be hurt once more.
Goff is definitely the fly in the ointment. They do have a really good offensive line, which helped Goff a lot last year and probably help him again. But obviously, yeah, I'm not going to deny Jared Goff is.
You don't want to stand Jared Goff?
No, I do think he gets a little underrated, but it's not to the point where I'm going to go off a cliff with it.
After all those years standing guys like Nick Foles, you think he's just going to take on?
Look, Jared Goff, if he could turn into Nick Foles, they would have won last year, but I don't know.
All right, the interest of time, fellas, because I do want to work in 3 more levels of sport or sports, whatever, over the last 15 minutes that we've got here. Let's go over to college hoops. And Lamarca, I'll start with you anyway, maybe even defer to you since Moose here has been checking out puck lines all day. But let's, working our way toward the Elite Eight. Obviously, you got 4 more games today. I think they're interesting, all for kind of different reasons. But do you have any favorite bets here?
This slate, not the most exciting to me. A couple of pretty decent favorites. I think that Houston maybe a little bit disrespected, only laying 7.5 here. They struggled in the first half of their last game against Auburn, but came back to just absolutely blow the doors off of them. So I think I'd be okay laying the 7.5 with Houston. The team I want to talk about is a team that played yesterday, and that's UConn. UConn is good. They might be the best team that I've watched during this tournament. I'm not a huge college basketball guy. I don't watch a lot during the regular season, but watching that team, they look like they should be a 1 seed, not a 4 seed. So they're still plus 450 to win the whole thing. And I don't see why they can't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was looking at just some of the What's interesting, I guess, and I defer to the sharps to some degree, obviously, because I am not a huge college basketball guy either. But we've seen the trends. I mentioned it yesterday. The unders have hit like 65 or so% of the time so far in this tourney, but feels like an overs day based on some of the stuff that I was reading earlier. Whether it's San Diego State, Alabama, the 138. You could look at Miami and Houston at 139.5. Both of those pretty good over opportunities, I would think, on the points. I don't think I would feel that way about the other two games, but then you start to get into more interesting kind of spread conversations as well. But have you been paying much attention to totals?
No.
Okay. Hey, listen, he's honest. I was just curious. All right, that's our college basketball minute. Let's go over to the NBA though, because we have got a hefty slate tonight here, Lamarca. Big, a lot of good players, obviously, and some games that there's not a lot. I mean, if for anyone that's looking, we can pull up the DraftKings Sportsbook. Celtics comfortable favorites at home. Wizards, same story. Raptors also. Grizzlies, Mavericks, Jazz. But then in the evening games or the later games, you start to get into closer ones. I'd almost be compelled, not to say there couldn't be an upset, obviously, but I'd like to put together a nice little 5-game money line parlay with just these first 5 picking the winners.
Oh, and that's why you're such a loser.
I know it's boring, but you know what? You cash.
No, someone will blow it. Don't worry. It always happens. There's always a fly in the ointment.
Yeah.
If there's a reason why, a money line parlay of big favorites is considered a sucker play.
Oh, it is a sucker play for sure. And yet I really enjoy it. Go on.
I want to go down to this Portland game tonight.
Yeah.
They are playing the Bulls. The Bulls are 4.5-point favorites. The Bulls are not going to have DeMar DeRozan. They've already ruled him out. But the Blazers are without Anthony Simons, without Jeremy Grant. Yusuf Nurkic is doubtful, and Damian Lillard is questionable. And given how Portland has played the entire second half of this season, I do not expect Damian Lillard to be in the lineup tonight, because why? What's the upside, right? You're clearly trying to lose games. What's the point of playing Damian Lillard when the rest of your team is sitting? So I'm fine with laying the 4.5 with Chicago on the road, even without DeRozan. I think Levine, Vucevic, that's going to be too much for, whoever is out there for Portland, right? Like, Jeff, can you tell me one other name on Portland if Lillard sits who is going to be in the lineup tonight?
Come on.
Oh, Mason Plumlee.
No, he's on the Clippers.
Yeah, I knew.
But that's my point.
On Portland
They have
anymore.
I know it's the NBA, but you can't always just defer to a Plumlee.
I can't. I should be able to, but I can't.
Anthony Simons?
No, he's out.
He's out to Yusuf Nurkic. See out, you said?
He's doubtful.
Doubtful.
You don't listen to me when I talk. We all know this by now.
I was well, every once in a while, but I was looking ahead to some other injury news for tonight and some guys to watch. Halliburton is playing for the Pacers tonight, by the way, which I still don't think that means Pacers are going to beat the Celtics, but in terms of covering the points, that brings it to a closer game.
The Pacers are
also Will Barton
at this
is going
point.
to start
The Pacers are
with,
playing for a play-in tournament. The Pacers are not going to be an easy out over the final 2 weeks,
Nope.
right? Like, they were considered a team that was going to tank, but they've been too good. They can't tank anymore, and they're only a game and a half behind the Bulls for the 10 seed. So the Pacers are going to be playing hard. I wouldn't mind taking the 10.5 with them.
Yeah, I probably would as well. What about just some news that came out a little while ago? Paul George, with the knee injury that he left with the other night, first round playoff return would be optimistic, and that's as the Clippers make it at all. Is that impacting anything as it relates to what you may be betting on related to the Clippers? Like, are you gonna, are you more inclined to bet the Clippers to miss the playoffs, that type of thing?
No, I still think the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard are okay, right? Like, Kawhi Leonard, if you haven't been paying attention, has been an absolute monster over the past few months.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to survive without him. They won their last game with Kawhi leading the way. And it's not like the rest of the conference is the beacon of health at the moment, right? Like the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards has been kind of banged up of late. They did just get Karl Anthony Towns back. The Mavericks have been banged up. The Lakers are banged up. The Pelicans still don't have Zion. So I think the Clippers with just Kawhi is still enough to get into the playoffs. I'm not really, even though no at plus 475, like that is pretty juicy, but I'm a Clippers guy. I'm backing them.
Any favorite DFS plays tonight? I know just looking at it, it's actually kind of crazy because obviously there are so many that are in the 10K range and above. But whether it's Luka, Giannis, Embiid, Lillard, Davis, Sabonis, Tatum, all of them are, I mean, not only in action, obviously, but they're all in good spots. Like in terms of points per dollar, they're all projected to have really successful nights. So who would you like to build around?
Yeah, I think if I was going up to that stud tier, I would take Anthony Davis, but I'm going just a hair cheaper, and I'm taking Kristaps Porzingis at 9K. Best possible matchup against the Spurs. They play at the third fastest pace and are dead last in defensive efficiency. And the Wizards are without Kyle Kuzma and Bradley Beal. Porzingis increases his usage rate by like roughly 8% with both guys off the floor. So I think Porzingis has, a comparable ceiling to a lot of those guys who are 10K plus tonight, and you're getting him at a slight discount.
NHL, the minutes we have remaining, Moose, Nate McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, these guys are, in terms of point projections, sitting there at the top of the list. Worth noting, there's only a few games, by the way. It's a very small slate, but what are you looking at? You can mention some DFS plays you like, obviously, but I assume you're more dialed into the DraftKings Sportsbook. So what has your attention?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, it's gonna be weird, but right off the top, there's a player prop I really like tonight. Devin Taves. If you go to player props for the Avalanche,
sure.
Blocked shots over 1.5 block shots for Devin Taves. Cale Makar, pretty sure is out. They're really banged up on defense. They're kind of just banged up everywhere. Taves has hit this in like 4 of his last 5 games or something. I mean, it's actually more. Played 28 minutes his last game. It's a little bit. The only downside is that the Coyotes don't get a ton of shots on net. But I mean, again, Colorado's down. I think he's just going to be on the ice for too much for him not to hit this. So I actually like that as a player prop. And then for game lines, I think that my favorite puck line is probably just the Islanders at whatever they are. They're actually plus 125 this morning. I'm not shocked that this line is cratered. It's not cratered, but it's plus 110 now. It's still fine, in my opinion. The Islanders are playing extremely well. They're getting scoring from like 3 different lines. The Blue Jackets have no Patrick Laine. The Blue Jackets are terrible. The Islanders in the midst of a playoff spot here. They're playing well. They're going to blow out the Blue Jackets tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if guys like Bo Horvat get it going, Anders Lee. So I that's probably my favorite puck line. I think you can also look to the puck line on the Devils and Sabres. The Sabres have allowed 7.3 goals per game over their last 4 home games. So it's not good. And the Devils.
You like the over here as well?
I don't typically ever touch overs when it gets to the 7 handle, but
especially Devils over. That feels.
Yeah.
I don't normally think of the Devils as a high scoring team.
Well, I mean, like in terms of offensive production, they're one of the best this year in terms of just expected goal rate 5-on-5 and a bunch of different metrics. And having Timo Meier in the lineup, I think you'll probably see some kind of like 5-3 game. So it's not my favorite spot. I would actually rather, if I'm going to bet Devils, I would probably look to the goal props. There's some guys down their lineup with, I think, that have actually like very good lines. If I can find them now. But Jesper Bratt, plus 165 has been there all day. Dawson Mercer too. Those are 2 guys I would be absolutely fine betting for anytime goals tonight. Mercer especially, I think a plus 195. Top line, or not top line, but I mean he plays alongside Jack Hughes, so it's certainly a good spot.
How about DFS? I mean, obviously you just mentioned those guys as potential goal scorers, so I'll assume they're on your radar. But who else? I
mean, I think it's again, DFS to me is pretty simple. I actually think that the Avalanche top forwards are probably okay to fade tonight. Not that they're in terrible spots, but you can combine Bo Horvat and Anders Lee, and you can combine like Timo Meier and Nico Herscher. and you can get access to both top lines of the Devils and the Islanders for solid prices, like really solid. And then Devin Taves is the other just kind of must play. He's only 4,800. I should probably verify whether Cale Makar is out. I think he is, but again, Taves, even regardless of if who's playing, Taves at 4,800 is a great deal for DFS. So
nice. Well,
Makar is he will return to the lineup Friday versus Arizona.
There you go.
Peter Ball of The Athletic reports.
Yeah, so, I was going to say he's in the projections.
Taves plays in the first pairing with Cale Makar. So again, like he's still going to play a ton of minutes. But it probably takes away from him a little bit in terms of but DFS completely fine still at 4,800.
All right. Well, we are told by our crack staff of production crew that we can keep talking. We just can't do it here. We got to go. So the Madden simulation coming your way in just a few minutes features my beloved Patriots as well as the Seattle Seahawks. So it's a Super Bowl rematch of like 2014 or whatever it was. So thanks to Moose, to Lamarca. Hopefully you learned something along the way. Not you two guys, but the people out there listening. Place your bets. Enjoy the night. Kaufman. Yeah, it's a part of personal growth. I'm Adam Kaufman. Thanks to Eamon. Thanks to Andrew. We will see you later. Enjoy the weekend. Sweat and Slate return on Monday.